Welcome, dear participants, to the day 3 of online certificate course on data analysis for life sciences using R programming. Today, we shall be seeing the control structures in R. I welcome our resource person, Dr. J. VANATHI ma'am. Ma'am, please take it.
Thank you, Dr. Mahendra Kumar sir. Good afternoon to one and all participants. I welcome you all for the day 3 session of data analysis for life sciences using R. Now, before entering into today's session, let us have a recap of what we did in the previous day. These are the topics that we have discussed in our previous day, day 2, reserve words, variables, common statement, constants, operators, and operator precedence. So you are all aware of all these things, and we will today move on to the next topic. Before entering into the next topic, let us just see that today's we are going to teach you that to display anything on the console, we need a statement called output statement. That output statement in R programming, we use a function called print function to display our output on the console. The function that we are going to use is called the print statement. Now, this print statement will print a string on the console. Now, this print statement, it has got certain limitation. What limitation is print statement has got is that it can print only one object at a time. Now, what do you mean by one object is that, supposing I want to print within double quotes, hello, and then within other double quotes following by how are you. This is two objects because I'm putting that with a comma statement as two separate objects. If that is the case, the print statement will not print, it will give you an error. Why? Because is that only one object it can print at a time. It cannot print multiple items. So when you are giving more than one item, it is going to give you an error. For example, I can print here like print hello. It takes, because it is a single item, it can just print. Now, for example, I want to print more than one statement or more than one items. In that case, I can use another function called cat. Cat is concatenate. It's a short form of that. So using this cat function, I can produce a custom formatted output. In whichever way my output wants to be, I can format it and then I can print that one. That is possible. So now here you see I have two items, that is multiple items. One is hello, the other one is how are you. These are multiple items. This is possible when I use a cat function, but this cannot be done with a print function. Now I will show this example in my RStudio. Now let us just move to RStudio. Now look here, I am just going to use a print statement, print hello. Then I am just going to do that. So we are getting the output. Now in the same print statement, now I am just going to give same print statement hello, then this is one item, then I am going to have one more item in that, hello, how are you. Now look here, what is the output that is going to be displayed? See, it says an error because it cannot take more than one item. Okay, so in a print statement, the only limitation that we have to display is that you can give only one string. You cannot give multiple strings. But if you have a doubt, I'll show you another one. You can give it like this. Hello, how are you? Now let us see what is going to be the output. See, it is printing. So what is the difference between the previous print and this print is that you cannot have it a comma statement here and then you cannot put it as a separate string. When you have it as a one single string and then you can have any number of words within the double quotes, it treats as a single string. So now in this print, within one single statement that you are giving, so it is taking hello, how are you. So that's a difference. This is treated as one item, whereas this print statement, this is treated as two different items. So it is giving you an error. But the same thing when you put it in a cat statement, Now cat, I can just put like this. Hello. Then I just can put within this cat statement, how are you? Now I'm going to print it. See, we are getting hello, how are you? This is not giving you as an error because cat can take any number of multiple items, it can take it. So that is the difference between the print and the cat statement. For example, within the print statement itself, you want to have more number of items. Then there is another function that you can use it, which I will show you now. You can use it like this, print. Use a function called paste off function. Now what this paste off function does it is that how many other items that you give inside this print, it will paste and then it will give you the output. So when you want to have multiple items to be printed by using the print statement, then inside the print use another function called paste off function. Now here you see the same I am giving hello. How are you? Now I'm going to run this particular one. See, it is giving me the output. Hello, how are you? So these are the functions that are used to display your output on the console. You can give a simple print statement for one particular item to be printed. Supposing you want more than one item to be printed, okay, then you have to give the cat statement. You can print multiple items. Supposing within the print statement, if you feel you are very comfortable with print statement and you want to use only the print statement, then you try to embed another function inside that is called the paste function. By using the paste function, multiple items could be given to be printed. So by using print, you can display your output on the console. So for any program, you require the output to be displayed. So that's the reason now I just taught you this display statement before entering into control structures. So now you know how to print any output on the console. We are going to get into our topic today's session, control structures. Okay, now what are control structures? The various control structures that we are going to study in R are if and else statement, for statement. All the bulletin points that I have given here is that if and else, we call it as a statement, for is a statement, while is a statement, repeat is a statement, break is a statement, next is a statement. I am going to teach you all these things. If and else for, while, repeat, break, next. All these are all called reserve words. Hope you remember I have taught you what are reserve words. So reserve words are words that are already there as a keywords in our R program itself, which we cannot use it as an identifier. That's what I told you yesterday itself. You don't have to remember those reserve words. When you start doing the programming, by default, you will come to know what are the reserve words that we are going to use it. So, if and else is a reserve word, for is a reserve word, while, repeat, break, next. So, don't try to use these words in your program when you are giving a name as a variable or a constant or a function name, whatever that you are going to give. Don't give these names as a identifiers. Now, the first one is if and else. This is sort of some condition. You are trying to test a condition. Based on the condition, it will act. For example, I want to compare two numbers. I want to compare whether the number 1 is greater than number 2. Now, this is by using an if statement, I can do the comparison. If number 1 is greater than number 2, the condition is true. It will do some action. If the condition is false, it will do some other action. So that's called if and else. So based on a condition, it will jump from one part of the statement to the other part of the statement. So that's how it basically acts. The next one, in if and else itself, there are three types of if and else statement. The basic if statement, then we have a if and else statement, then we have a nested if statement. Within if, we will have another if, means that is called nested if statement, which we will be seeing everything with the program. The next one we are going to see is called for, while, repeat. Now, what category it comes under is that for, while, and repeat is that this comes under the category called iteration or looping. Iteration means a particular task is repeatedly done many number of times That's called as iteration, or in other words, we call it as looping statements. For example, I want to add 10 numbers from 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, 6, 7, 8 up to 10. So what I'm doing from 1 to 10, I am adding the numbers, the same task I am doing. So this I can put it in a programming concept in a looping. Okay, so it will just add all the numbers from 1 to 10. So it is doing the same task repeatedly. When you want to do such sort of same task repeatedly, we can use for statement. Then another looping statement is while statement. They both are one and the same. Not much difference between the for and the while, but most popularly used looping constructor is for statement only. In all the languages for that matter, for programming practice, they will be using only for statement. The next one is called repeat statement. This is also a looping statement only. The only difference is that this will not have any condition in your repeat code. Inside the program, we will give a code and then we will check for it. Next is break and next. Break statement is that inside my execution of a loop, I want to quit and then I want to come out of my loop. Then I can use a break statement. Next statement is that inside my loop, that current iteration alone I want to skip and I want to go to the next iteration. Then I can use the next statement. So for each and everything with the program, I'll explain to you how we are going to use it. Let us just get into this thing. First one, decision and loop. So decision is if-else statement. So based on some condition, it will act. So that is called decision statements. Decision making is an important part of programming. So because every time we will be doing what? Based on if some condition, we have to do something else. So decision is more important. For that, we are using this one. First one is if statement. Now this is a simple if statement. In a simple if statement, if is the keyword. Got it? If is the keyword. Test expression. Test expression is that this is the place where we will be writing the condition. This is inside this one, we will be writing the condition. Followed by open braces. Now, inside this open braces, you can write whatever statements that you want to write. That is called block of code. It is called block of code. After that, you have to close it. So, you have to open and then you have to close. Within this open and close braces, the entire statements what you want to write for that condition, you can write it. For example, let us take it. Now, I have a variable called x and I am assigning the value 5 to that. Now, the x has a value 5. Now, what I am going to try is that I am going to check whether the variable x is a positive number or not. This is a condition that I am going to check. Now, I am checking if x is greater than 0. If 5 is greater than 0, then it will print it is a positive number. Let me just do this thing for you in my RStudio. Now, this is a piece of code. I told you every time, whenever you have some printing in the console and you want to erase it, use the command Ctrl L. When I press Ctrl L, this will be cleared. This area will be cleared for you. Now I have a piece of code. 5 is assigned. Yesterday I taught you this assignment operator. It can be equal to or it can be this operator. Whichever you are comfortable, you can work with that. So 5 is assigned the value to x. Now I am checking that with this. If is a keyword. Within this parenthesis, we are checking what? The condition. What? This is the condition that I have given. X greater than 0, which is the condition that I have given. And this is an open braces and this is a closed one. It is open and closed. And then within that open and close, I am giving the statements inside. These are the statements. So I am giving a statement called print positive number. Let us just run this code. So it says it is a positive number. Why? Because is that this statement is true. Since the statement is true, it will come inside this particular loop and it will print the statement. Now you may have a doubt. What if the statement is not true? It is false. I have told you the Boolean condition takes two values. One is true, the other one is false. Now, x greater than 0 is a true value. So, it is coming inside the for loop and it is printing whatever statements that I have given inside the for loop. Now, for example, I am giving the value -5. Negative value. Now, I am going to run this program. Let us see what is going to be the output of this particular program. Now, there is no output. You can see here there is no output. Why? Because is that this condition is false. Since this condition is false, it is not entering into this loop itself. It is not doing any operations and then it is coming out of this. After this, I have not given any statement. Since I have not given any statement, I am not getting any output. For example, if you want to know whether it is coming outside, let us put like this, print end. Now, I'll run this statement again. Now, you see here, this X condition is false. So, it is not executing that print positive number. It is coming out and then it is printing the last value. Now, I'll make this as a positive statement. Well, we will run the same piece of code. Now, here you see, it is true. 5 greater than 0 is true. So, it is executing print positive number and after that it comes out of the loop, this condition, and then it sees the statement that is there inside. Next to that is that print end and it is printing end. So, that is the difference. Only when it is true, it is getting into that. If it is false, it will skip and then it will come to the next statement after the if. So, it is based on the condition, it will jump from one part of the program to other part of the program. This is called simple if statement. So, now we saw simple if statement. Let us now go to if else statement. Now, in a if else statement, what will happen is that the syntax is that if the test condition or the expression, whatever it may be, if it is true, statement 1 will be executed. If it is false, statement 2 will be executed. If and else are keywords. They are keywords of our language. So, you should not use it as an identifier. In my previous if statement, when you see here, we didn't have an else statement. We had only the if statement. So, if it is true, it will only execute. If it is false, it will not do anything else. It will just simply come out. But in this case, if it is true, statement 1 will be executed. If it is false, statement 2 will be executed. Now, let us go and see the program. Let's get into R loop. The same program only I am giving. The same thing. I am clearing the console here. Now, let us just run this program. Now, you could just look into this here. See here, this is if statement. The condition, if this condition is true, positive number will print it. If the condition is false, it will jump to else part. And then here, whatever the statement that I have given inside this else statement, that will be printed. It will go in this way. Now, let us run the source of code. Once again, this is a mistake. Let's just make it. And positive. Then control F. Else, different statement. There's one advantage in this thing. Whenever you are typing any command, that will pop up. So it will be easy for you to know what is that command so that you will not make any mistake also. If else print positive, negative, that's good. It should actually work. Excuse me, we'll have some other program. I'll make it. I'll type my own program. Let me take this piece of code. This is working perfectly for us. Positive, else, it's negative. Okay. Positive number. Let me just run. I'm getting another. And there's some error that I get. Statement else. Yeah, now I'm just getting it. One second. Okay, now I can just see here. You are getting the answer as positive number. Supposing if you are not properly typed, we may be getting some errors like this. So here you see x is 5. So 5 is greater than 0. So we are getting a positive number. Now I am making this 5 as a negative 1. I am just giving x is minus 5. Now I am clearing the console. Now here I am going to run this piece of code. Now you will see here it is a negative number. Sorry, the spelling is wrong. So the negative number. Now I'll run the piece of code again. So now here you see, since I have given the number as minus 5, it is giving you negative number. Okay. So x, based on this condition, if it is true, this portion will be executed. If this is false, it goes to the else portion. This is called if else 1. So this is what we saw, that this is simple if statement and this is if else statement. The next statement is called if else ladder. Now if else ladder, in the sense I have more than 2 alternatives. Not in the previous one we had just 2 alternatives. One was positive, the other one was negative. Now I have more than 2 alternatives. The same one, I want to find out whether a number is, whether it is a negative number or whether it is a positive number or it can be even a 0. So now I have more than one alternatives. If I have more than one alternatives, then for that we have to use the syntax of this one. If test expression. Now I am going to check this expression. If it is true, statement 1 will be executed. Otherwise, it will go to else if. Else if. This is also a keyword. Now it will come to this one. It will check this expression. If this expression is true, statement 2 will be executed. If this expression is false, it will go to else if test expression 3. Then it will test this. If this is true, it will come here. If expression 1 is false, expression 2 is false, expression 3 is false, then it will come to else portion and then it will execute the statement 4. So based on that, each and every expression will be first tested. If it is true, only that particular statement will be executed. The rest of the other statements will not be executed. If test expression is 1, statement 1 will be executed. If this is false, it will go to test expression 2. If test expression 2 is true, statement 2 will be executed. The rest of the other statements will not be executed. If test expression is false, it will go to test expression 3. If test expression 3 is true, it will execute statement 3. If test expression 3 is also false, it will then go to else portion and it will execute statement 4. So when we have more than two conditions to be tested, then you can use a concept called if-else ladder, where you can have more alternatives and then you can work on the alternatives. Now the example for that is that, now here you see I have a variable called x, and that is a variable assigned the value 0. Now if x is less than 0, then I have to say it is a negative number. This is one condition that I have to check. The next condition I am going to check whether it is a positive number. If it is not a negative number, it will come and check whether it is a positive number greater than 0. If it is greater than the value that I have assigned is greater than 0, then it will say it is a positive number. Otherwise, if both the test conditions, it didn't match, then it goes to the else portion. Now it will come to the else portion. If it is not a negative number and if it is not a positive number, then I declare that it is a 0. The number that I have given as an input is a 0. So this is called else if ladder. When I have more than two conditions, I can put it in the like this in a else if ladder. So I can just have it like this. Not only two conditions, you can have any number of else if conditions. There is no restrictions in that. I can have 5 to 6 else if conditions also inside my if statement. That is possible. Based on that, you can check the days of the week. If, for example, you can give x is 1. For example, if you give x is 1, then you can just say it is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, like that, 1, 2, 3, like that, each and every day, 7 days of a week. For example, as we say that when you start with a Monday, give 1 for Monday, 2 for Tuesday, like that you can give for 7 days, 7 numbers, and then you can put it in the else if condition, and then you can check it. If it is 8, it is not going to match any days of the week that day. Then there you can put it in the else condition and you can say not a valid day. Like that, some statement you can print it. So that is possible. When you have more than two conditions, put it in the else if ladder and then you can work it on the else if ladder. So the three statements now we saw are called conditional statements. First one is simple if statement. The second one is if else statement. And the third one is if else if ladder. Ladder in the sense when you have more than two alternatives and you want to use it in your program, you can use it in the else if ladder. Now that is called conditional statements. Now next we are going to move into looping constructs. Looping, or you can call it as iteration. Now why do we are using this looping construct? Loops are used for programming to repeat a specific block of code. Now for example, as I told you at the beginning itself, I want to add 10 numbers. From 1 to 10 I want to add means what I am going to do is that I am going to do the same task. 1 plus 2 plus 3. So same task I am going to repeat. That I can, instead of adding 10 variables like number 1 plus number 2 plus number 3 plus number 4, I can use it by using the looping construct because the same task I am going to use it. So that could be substituted by using the loops, or other way you can call it as iteration. Now the looping, you have three types of loop. One is called for loop, the other one is called while loop, the third one is called repeat loop. The most commonly used looping statement is for loop only. In all the programs for that matter, they will be using for loop, which is very user friendly compared to other loops. In any looping construct, when you take it, there will be three statements inside. One is called initialization. Meaning is that first you have to initialize a variable. You have to give some value for a variable. The next one is test the condition. You have to test every time whether it is true. If it is true only, that particular loop will be executed. If it is false, the loop, it will come out of the loop. The third one, increment or decrement. So to check every time, because initially you have set the value and you have the test condition, every time you have to increment the loop and you have to test the condition. So when the condition is satisfied, the block of statements inside the loop will be executed. When the condition is false, it will come out of the loop. That we are going to see now. So the syntax for the for loop is that for is a keyword. Again, I am telling you, for is a keyword or a reserve word. Don't use it as an identifier. VAL is value. Value in sequence. You can give it in a sequence like 1 to 10. 1 is to 10 means it will take value from 1, 2, 3, 4. Yesterday I used a miscellaneous operator called colon. So you can use for val in 1 colon 10. In that sense, it will take value from 1 to 10. So that's the reason yesterday I taught you last at the end operator called colon operator, where you can use it for this for loop. Now, this is called open and close braces. Now, these are the statements, that is block of code that is inside the for loop. Till this for loop is true, this set of statements will be executed that many number of times. Once this condition inside this for loop becomes false, it will just come out of the for loop and the statement next to this braces, that will be executed. Here, the sequence we call it as a vector, and value is each time the value that it is taking from the vector. In each iteration, the statement is evaluated. So, every time when you take the value, the block of code will be executed in that way. Now, this is an example. Now, we will see this example. I will run this example in my R Studio and I will show you, I will also tell you the logic of this. Now I am clearing my console. Now I'll tell you each line by line. Now X is a variable, that is an identifier. C, I told you it is a vector. So to represent things in a vector in R, we have to give it a C followed by the values. So you can give any sequence of values, it can be of your own. Supposing it is going to be a continuous value, then you put it as the starting value colon ending value. So that will take it as a sequence. Otherwise, you are going to give your own values, then you have to give it like this. 2, 5, likewise, you can give your own values. Now, I have taken another variable as count. That is assigned the value 0. Now, for is a keyword I told you. For value, this is the value 2, 5, 3, 9, 8, 11, 6 are the values. From where it is going to take? It is going to take from X. So that's what value in X. In is an operator. Okay, get it? In is an operator. Now, these values it is going to fetch from X. Till it fetches all the values from 2 to 6, this will be true. After 6, this will become false and it will come out of the loop. Now, what it is going to do is that initially it is fetching the value 2 from the vector. Now, 2 in X. Now, next I am checking a condition, 2 double percentage 2. I taught you in operators, this is for finding the remainder. When you are dividing a number and when you use double percentage, it will give the remainder. So, 2 double percentage is modulus operator 2 means when it gives the remainder 0. So, when 2 is divided by 2, it will give the remainder what? 0. Naturally, 2 is divisible by 2, it is going to give the remainder 0. In that case, I am counting the value, initially count value 0, now I am incrementing it, so my count value now becomes 1. Okay, now what this does it is that this program, I'll tell you the logic. It is going to check whether which are all the numbers that is going to be divisible by 2. Divisible by 2. That is, it will give the remainder 0. That is going to count and give me the output. That is the logic of this program. Nothing more than that. So by default, we all know mathematics. So whichever numbers is a even numbers, that is going to be divisible by 2, because that only will give us the remainder 0. So 2 is going to give us, then 8 will give us, then 6 will give us. Only 3 numbers are going to give the remainder 0. So naturally, we are going to see what is going to be the count. Now just I'll run my program. Now see here, it is 3. Why it is 3? As I told you, 2, 8 and 6 alone are divisible, and that will give the remainder 0. So count becomes, when I am dividing by 2, the count becomes 1. When I divide by 8, the count becomes 2. When I divide by 6, the count becomes 3. So my output is going to be 3. The rest of the numbers, when we take 5, that is not going to be equal to 0, because it will have some other number, not 0 as a remainder. When I divide by 3, it is not going to be give me the remainder 0. When I divide by 9, it is not going to give me the remainder 0. And when I divide by 11, it is not going to give me the remainder 0. So only these 3 numbers are going to give me the remainder 0. So that's the reason my count is equivalent to 3. So this is the logic of this particular program. So now inside a for loop, I am using it. So for loop, these are the statements inside the for loop. So till it evaluates from 2 to 6, these statements will be executed. After 6, this will come out and then it will give me the output. So it will check for this condition. Till this is true, the set of statements will be executed. Once it becomes false, it will just come out of the for loop. So that is the for loop. Well, the next one is called the while loop. Now, what is there in the while loop? While loop and for loop, as I told you, they are same only, not much difference. Only thing, in a for loop, everything is inside one single statement, whereas in a while loop, we write it in 3 different statements. Initialization will be in one statement, test condition will be in one statement, increment and decrement will be in another statement. So in 3 different lines, we will be writing these statements, whereas in for loop, everything comes under in one particular line itself. So that's what it is most widely used looping construct. Everybody will prefer for rather than while loop. Now let us see the syntax of while loop. While, as I told you, while is a keyword or a reserve word. Don't use it as an identifier. Now this is a test expression, that is a condition. Now it will check for the condition. Only if the condition is true, it will enter into the loop itself. If the condition is false, it will not enter the loop at all, and not even a single statement will be executed. If the condition is false, only if the condition is true, it will come and execute the statement. So while test expression, if it is true, then within this basis, what are all the set of statements, those statements will be executed here. Now example of this while loop is that, I'll run this in my RStudio and show you. I'll put it as a comment statement. Yesterday I taught you comment statement. So whichever statements we are not using as a syntax, put it as a comment statement. It's always a good programming practice, I told you. Now, here you see, we are assigning the value 1 to a variable called I. Now we are checking whether 1 is less than 6. Yes, it is true. Since 1 is less than 6 is true, it is coming inside the loop and it is printing 1. Then what it does it is that it is incrementing now the value of 1. Now the value of 1 becomes 2. Again it goes back to this particular place. It is checking whether 2 is less than 6. Yes, it is true. It again comes here and print 2. Then it increments. Now it becomes 3. It goes here. 3 less than 6. True. Prints 3. Now increment 4. 4 less than 6. It is true. Comes here. Print 4. Now 5. Incremented. 5 less than 6. It is true. Coming and printing 5. Now increment. It becomes 6. It comes here. 6 less than 6. 6 less than 6 is false. You got it? If I am giving 6 less than or equal to 6 means it is true. If I give 6 less than 6, it is false. So it will come out of the loop and my output will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will not print 6 because 6 less than 6 is false. So it will come out of the loop. Now as I told you, now you have written the statements. I equal to 1 is initialization. It is outside. One statement separately. I less than 6 is the test condition. This is there in another statement. I equal to I plus 1 is increment statement. That is there in another statement. Now the same thing we are writing in 3 different statements. This one is initialization. This is the test condition. And this one is the increment. Now, but that in the case of for loop, everything will be inside one particular statement. So that's the reason that is most popularly used looping construct. Now let us run this piece of code and then see the output. Now if you could see it here, see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why? Because is that 6 less than 6 is false. So it will not execute print type. It will come out of the loop and then it will just wait. So only till 5 it will execute. Unless and otherwise the condition is true, it will not execute it and it will come out of the loop. This is called while loop. Hope you understood the concept. So that is while loop. Next we are going to see break and next statement. In programming concept, normal looping sequence, when you want to alter. Now in my previous programs I showed you, once the condition is true, it will be executing. If it is false, it is going to come. In between itself, I have a logic that if that particular condition is met alone, I want to do that. Otherwise, I want to come outside. Then I can alter my program by using the statement break and next statement. Now, what is basically a break statement is that it will stop the iteration. That is, it will quit from the loop and then it will come out of the loop. It will not execute fully the loop. Once a condition becomes false, it will just come out of the particular loop. That is the break statement. That is, it is break the loop and it will come out of it. It will not fully do the loop statements. Whether, for example, if I have for I equal to 1 to 10 and inside I have given a if statement for a particular condition, it can, if I give a break statement inside, it will just come out of that. It need not have to do all the 1 to 10. So I can alter my loop by using this break statement. The syntax for the break statement is that, so there is a condition. Based on the condition, I can give the break. Break is a keyword. Again, remember, break is a keyword. Don't try to give it as an identifier. Now, one example which I'm going to tell you by this break statement, how it is working, I'll just execute and then tell you. Along with the logic, I'll explain to you. Now I'm clearing the console, Control L. Now it's an example, so I'm putting it as a comment statement. Now when you just look into here, so here you see I'm using a colon operator. That I told you it is a miscellaneous operator. So meaning is that I'm going to take the value, sequence of values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is to 5 means continuous values 1 to 5 I'm going to take it. That is assigned to the variable called x. Now in my for loop, val is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every time whatever the value that x is taking from the x. So initially it will take the value 1. Now inside the for loop, I am coming and checking if 1, because my first value is 1 is equal to 3. I taught you this assignment operator. This is not an assignment operator. This is equal to operator. When you want to check for equality, when two numbers are same, you want to check for equality, use the double equal to symbol. When you use double equal to symbol, you are checking for the equality of the number. So you are checking 1 is equal to 3. 1 is not equal to 3. It just goes into the loop. It takes, then it comes here, it print 1. Then it will go, take the value 2. It checks whether 2 is equal to 3. 2 is not equal to 3. So it will print 2. Then it takes the value 3. 3 is equal to 3. The condition is true. So it will break and then it will come. 4 and 5 it will not execute. Because 3 equal to 3, the condition is met. After that, what we are given? We are given the condition as break. So it will break and then it will come out of the particular loop. Now I'll just execute this piece of code for you. So you can just see here, first it takes the value 1, it checks for 1, then it checks if 1 is equal to 3. If 1 is equal to 3, it is not true, so it is printing 1. Then it is taking the value 2. 2 is equal to 3, not true. It prints 2. Then it takes the value 3. 3 is equal to 3. It is true. Since it is true, what is the next statement I have given inside if loop? Break. So it will break and it comes out of the for loop. And it will not print any value. It will come out of that, since it has met the condition. So inside any loop, I can alter my for loop by using this break statement. So 1 to 5, it is not executing fully the loop. Since I have given some condition inside, and based on the condition I am asking to break and come out, it is not fully using the particular for loop. That is possible by using the break statement. So that is about break statement. Other statement that we can use in loops is next statement. There is a difference between break and next statement. In a next statement, it will not quit the entire loop, but the current iteration, that iteration alone, it will skip it, and then it will go to the next iteration. It will continue the loop. So it is equivalent to continue statement. You can remember in that way, next is equivalent to continue, meaning is that it will continue the loop and it will not break from the loop. On encountering the next, the R skips further evaluation and starts next iteration of the loop. The syntax is next. So it is a keyword or a reserve word. So don't give it as name for an identifier. Now we will see the same example when I am using as a next statement. What is the output that I am getting here? The same program, by using next statement, let us see what is going to be the output. See, the first output is for break. The second output, so I have not cleared the console, I have kept it here. Now I am going to run this program by using the next statement, and we will see what is the output when we use the same program by using next and the same program with break. Now here you see the same logic only. For we are taking the value 1 to 5 sequence of values, and that is stored in the variable x, and every time the value it will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now inside the for loop, I have given a condition stating that every time I want to check whether the value that I am taking is equal to 3 or not. If it is equal to 3, in my previous program I gave it as a break, meaning is that if the condition is met, quit my loop and then come out of that. Now what I am giving here in the next means, if the condition is met, don't do that particular iteration, skip that iteration and go to the next iteration. So it will go and take the value 4 and then it will start doing that. So now here my output will be 1, 2, 4, 5. So let us run the program. You can see the difference between the first output and the second output. The first 1 and 2 is for break. Now look into the console for next statement and you can compare the results. Hope you could see the result here. Now see here, this 1 and 2 is for break and 1, 2, 4, 5 is for next statement. The same piece of code. Here when I used break statement, this is my output, and when I use my next statement, this is my output. Meaning is that when 3 is equal to 3, that current iteration is skipped and it is going to the next iteration. So it is inside that for loop only when you are using the next. But when you use a break, it will quit and it will come out. That's a basic difference between next and break. Hope you understood the concept. The next one is the repeat loop. The repeat loop is used to iterate over a block of code of multiple number of times. I want to use it for a multiple number of times means I can use this. But in a repeat, we don't have any condition to check like for and while. In a for, we add some condition within a parenthesis. In a while, we add some conditions. But in a repeat loop, we don't have any conditions. Inside that repeat, by using a if condition, we have to do some checking and then we can write the logic for that. So repeat is a keyword or a reserve word. Don't use it as an identifier. Then open and close braces. Within that you can give the set of statements. Now this is an example for repeat. Now I am assigning the value 1 to that. the syntax is repeat. Now it comes here, it print x means it will print the value 1, then it will increment it. Now my value becomes 2. It is checking whether 2 is equal to 6. If 2 is equal to 6, it is asking to break and then come out of that. Otherwise, it will continuously doing this particular one. So that's how a repeat statement works it. But the most popularly used looping construct or iteration construct is for statement only. Now last statement of today's session is input statement. Till now, in the beginning of the session, we saw display statement. Now we are going to see the input statement. Till now, in all our programs, we were assigning the values to the variable, but we were not taking the input from the console. We are not typing from the keyboard. Rather, we were assigning the value. Supposing you feel that you want to give the value from the keyboard, you want to give your own values without assigning it, then you have to use the input statement called read line off. Read line off is an input statement where you can take input from the user from the terminal. From your keyboard, you can give the input. Now, whatever the input that you give is a single element. It takes as a character vector. Now, here you see, it's an example program. This alone, I'll execute in my R console and I'll tell you that how it is working for you. This program is for taking input from the keyboard. I cleared my console. I look into this program. Now what is that? From the keyboard, I am going to enter the name, enter the age, and then it will print, hi, your name, and next year you will be, whatever the age I given, plus 1 it will add, and then it is going to give me. That is what this program is that. Nothing more logic in that. Now here you see, read line. Read line is a command or it is a function. It is used to get prompt something from the keyboard to you. Prompt is a command. By using this, you can just say enter name. You can enter whatever the name you wanted in the keyboard. That will be stored in the variable called my.name. This is an identifier. Next one is you want to get your age. I am using an identifier called my.age. So by using the read line, I am just getting it. Now, since this is taking as a character vector, I am adding my age. If my age is numeric only, I can add age plus 1. If it is a character, I cannot add. So what I am doing is that character, I am converting it into an integer. Only if it is an integer, numerical value, I can add to that. For that, I am using a function called as.integer. This is a function. This my.age, which is a character, now will become as an integer. Then only I can add here age plus 1. It will add and then give. If you want to just print as a character, then you don't want to convert it as .integer. But when you want to do some mathematical calculations on that, then you have to use the function called as.integer. Now I'm going to run this source of code. See here, enter name. It is just waiting for me. I'll type some name. It is asking for the age. Now I enter the age 23. Well, what it will do is that this is a character. Now by using as.integer, it will now change it to a numeric. Now I'll press enter. Here you see what in paste I have given. Hi, my.name is what? Aditya. Next year you will be what? My.age plus 1. Since it is now integer is 23, it is making it as 24 years old. Inside the print, I used paste so I can have any number of multiple items I have given inside. That's what I taught you in the first beginning of the session, the display statement by using print paste. When I can have multiple items, I can use it by print statement. So this is how by using interactively you can take input from keyboard by using the read line command without assigning the statement. So this is for today's session. And if you have any doubts, you can get it clarified. Now I am handing over the session to Mahendra Kumar sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Ma'am, we have a few questions.
Yes, sir.
Purva has asked, how do we save the script and retrieve it the next time?
Yes. 1 second, can I show it in the code itself? Now
Yes.
you have
And they
to.
also asked about what is the new project.
Yes. See, you can go to file, take it as new file, then you will have this R script. Go to file, new file, R script. Here you can give the name. Here, when I want to save it, go to R script. So, excuse me. So this is the command. Go to new file, go to R script, and then if you press, it will pop up, the box will pop up where you have to give file name dot R. That is, I will type it here, file name dot R. If you just give it and then press enter, then it will, your programs will be saved. For example, I'll show you. See, for example, I have saved a file called fact.r. I'm just opening it. Yes. Fact.r. See here, this is my program called fact.r. So whenever you want to save your file, go to new file, take R script, then open it, and then you can give the name and you can save it, whichever name you want it, but the extension should be .r. So R stands for that R programming. So like that you have to store it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Vijay Shakti has asked if in else ladder conditional statement, does the final statement need to be inside the parenthesis?
Yes, final statement. That is a else statement also should be inside only.
Venkatesh has asked, how can we print each result in the new line? Is there any keyword?
Everything you put it as a separate print statement.
Hari Saran Ashoka, what is the difference between while and do while?
Yes, while is entry loop and do while is exit loop. What do you mean by exit loop is that in an exit loop, at least once it will execute, then only it will go and check for the condition. But in a while loop, initially it will check for the condition. Only when it is true, it will execute. If it is false, it will not enter the loop at all. That is the difference between while and do while. While is called entry loop and do while is called exit loop.
Kanish Kandas asked, in cat statement, within single quotes, give any condition, it should be printed in the output.
Yes, you can give it. Anything within double quotes or single quote, it is treated as a string and it will print it. Even if you don't give anything else also, nothing will be printed. Just like that, with just cat within double quotes, you just give it and then come out. Nothing will be printed on the console. Or you can give you can give a single character or any number of characters or any number of words, it takes it inside. As I told you, even multiple items, it will take cat.
Okay, ma'am. I think all questions are over, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, and one Padma has asked how to save my output in a Word file. Is that possible?
Yes, you can do cut, copy, paste. That's all. When you want to do that, that is possible. But when you want to export it, that I will teach you. There is a possible way of exporting things in a CSV file. You can save it and all the things. That when I am using it, that time I will teach you how to do that.
Yes. Vijayan has asked, why can't we give commands in console itself?
Yes, you can give commands in console itself, but that you cannot save it as a file. That is possible. See, even in a console, I am giving print. For example, inside my console itself, I can give print within quotes hi. So it is printing the same thing. That is also possible, but this will not be saved. But when you are doing it in the editor, by using the .r function, you can save and you can retrieve it for further use and then you can use it. That is a difference.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And Pramodini Naik has asked, can we use R program to analyze qualitative and quantitative data?
Yes, as I told you, this is purely for statistical functions. You can use it for all statistical functions. It is possible.
Yes, ma'am. One has asked, will these videos available? Yes, dear participants, all these videos are available and will be available in our official YouTube channel, Guru Nanak Center for Research, for your future reference. Thank you. The attendance feedback for today's session have been posted in the chat box. So kindly submit your feedback form and we shall meet tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you, participants, and thank you, Mahindra Kumar sir, coordinator.